When I started, from, in terms of wearable technology, I found things like this. So in 1857, there was a French jewelry maker, clockmaker, and he made glowing dresses for dancers in Paris. There is no YouTube video for that, sorry. But I know that they all survived and they were all glowing for 20 minutes on stage. And then, of course, Steve Mann and his gang. So they were like the people, that was wearable technology, how it started, right? So they just used like camcorders and just put it on their heads. That's like the first version of the Google glasses, basically, So I was like, okay, so that's there, but why can't I look pretty and smart at the same time? So that really, really annoyed me. It's like, okay, either it's this or it's that. But what's in between? And that's where I started my journey, quit my job, and said like, okay, let's find out what we can do. By now, I founded 6 different companies. We do like all different projects. I started with ElektroCouture. There was like wearable light, because light is really awesome. It makes you feel nice. And at Christmas, you see like all of the lights flying around. But it's also a super, super smart technology, because like how else do we get high-speed internet these days? It's with light. So I started with ElektroCouture, and I'll show you one of our latest projects, because I don't know, do you know Marlene Dietrich? It's like an chanson singer. Did you know she was a fashion tech designer? So this year is the 25th death anniversary of Marlene Dietrich. And in Berlin, from where our company is, they have the entire archive of her belongings. And we found letters from 1958 that she wanted to have a fashion tech dress. She wrote, "I want to glow, I want to bedazzle people, I want to be interactive." But it was in 1958. It just wasn't possible. I mean, she really went into electric engineering, and she had like a solution where she had like the whole electricity going down to her feet, and there was like a metal piece on stage, and she would step on it, and the dress would glow. That was her theory. I'm glad she didn't do it, because it probably would have killed her. Because back then there were no power banks, no LEDs. So we found those letters and we took them as like a briefing. So Marlene was like our customer for 3 months, and she wrote us these letters and said like, "I want flowers, I want a lot of flowers, pink flowers." And we were like, super. Okay, so we use laser cutters and 3D printers, right? Because it's 2017. And she wanted to have lights. And it was like, okay, well, we use LEDs. We actually teamed up with Swarovski and said like, because she used a lot of Swarovski crystals. And we said like, wow, but you can't get the light through the Swarovski crystal. What do we do? Well, we just put holes in the crystal so the light can go through the crystal and glow. That's like, hardware hacking in couture. And that one is now going next year. I'm very pleased to say that in July next year, the entire project will be exhibited at the EU headquarters in Brussels, because it's also a really nice European story, between Paris and Berlin. And that was, for me personally, also it went like so deep, because I had always a very strong connection to Marlene, and now she was one of my customers. And it was also so nice to see that, you have to travel in the past to actually find the future. Another thing also what we realized is like, okay, like now we're in the whole space of fashion technology. That means we actually need a whole different skill set of people. We need fashion technologists. So me coming out of software engineering 15 years ago, I saw what happened to web designers. Web designers didn't come out of universities. It was a classical trained graphic designer and an engineer, and they worked together because they had to develop a user interface for that thing which called internet back then. And out of that came an entire new job. That was the web designer. Now you can study web design, you can learn web design, but back then it started from the industry. Exactly that is going to happen with fashion technologists. So we had a lot of fashion designers coming to us and said like, look, we are only learning the past in universities. I need to learn the future. Can you teach me how to use microchips in clothing? And that's how we started the academy. Yeah, so last year we made a project together with the Goethe Institute in Bangkok. And we trained the first generation of fashion technologists in Bangkok. That was really nice. We had people from Malaysia, from the Philippines, and from Thailand. And we came over and we teamed up with Fab Cafe. Anybody knows Fab Lab and Fab Cafes? Yeah, so if you want to go into hardware and just like talk with machines, go to Fab Cafes and Fab Labs, because they're there to give you access to machines and give you knowledge. So we teamed up with the Fab Cafe in Bangkok, because they had laser cutters and 3D printers and sewing machines. And we got 11 students together and taught them the basics of soldering, microchips, sewing, laser cutting and 3D printers. And it was so amazing to see, like, we taught them everything the same, but we had like complete different concepts coming out of that. And we stayed in Bangkok for over a week, and then we trained them for 3 months, because you have to let them go, you know, they have to become independent. And then we came back to Goethe Institute, and the top 3 designers got a scholarship from Goethe Institute to come back to us to Berlin to present their designs during Berlin Fashion Week. And the top 3 designers are actually in our studio in Berlin, because they're working on the next fashion tech collection. So I'm really, really proud of that. And that's the thing, is like our mindset is like, you know, you have to teach people how to fish. Right, you know, not to just bring the fish on the table. It's just like, okay, so here are the basics, but you are the one, you with own creativity, everyone is different, and we just give you, you know, the tools, and then you go out and fly. So, I've mentioned the studio several times. So, our studio is kind of like a prototyping space. It's very similar to like Fab Lab, because like I worked at Fab Lab for many years. That's also where ElektroCouture was born. But it's more like for fashion designers, right? You know, because if you go more like in a maker space, they use 3D printers to print Star Wars figures, and a laser cutter to, like, you know, cut little thingies for their robots. We have the same machines, but we use them to 3D print buttons and jewelry and other glowing fabulous things. But also at the same time, what then happened is, like, we had a lot of companies coming to us and say, like, okay, we understand we have to go in fashion tech, but we don't know how. Can you show us? And we're like, yeah, sure, of course, like, what, you know, there's everything what you need. So, and last year we made a European-wide incubator program for the Deutsche Telekom. So they had the idea to start a competition for fashion technology across Europe. And I was like, yeah, great idea, but we don't know how. And I was like, it's fine, come to me, I'll help you. So we replicated our studio, so we built them a separate fashion tech hack space, you know, with all of the machines. We got the entire mentor program. I just invited all of my friends. And we mentored them, and then they were working together for 3 months in Berlin and worked on their own collection, and then presented it at Fashion Week the year later. So we had like Adidas was involved, Intel was involved. It was really great, because like that was also the start. It's like, okay, so like also the big guys, they understand that, because in the end of the day, what it is now, it's product diversification. We are talking about product innovation also. You know, for the telecom, for instance, what's really interesting is like your telephone will disappear, because at the moment what we do with our telephone, we disable us. We only have one hand. The other hand is busy all the time, right? You know, typing. So of course it would totally make sense that we actually integrate the phone in our clothes somehow. You know, like click, click, call mom. You know, so stuff like that. So they're on a road tour at the moment through, they just presented at IFA, and they're working on the next generation of projects. Right. And the latest one actually was also what happened is, because like, yes, incubators are very important, but actually now also what's happening is that, because fashion technology means also we have to hack actual machines. So, and then Siemens came to us and said like, if we would give you a washing machine, what would you do with this? And I was like, well, you know, first of all, can we like make clothes talk to washing machines? Wouldn't that make sense? Like, nah, you put red and white socks into a washing machine, the machine doesn't start. But also, of course, like, you know, now we're putting electronics into clothes. Kind of would be handy if we could wash them. You know, so like you can have the smartest microchips as you like, but if you, you know, destroy them after one wash, yeah, that's like, so we actually developed a glowing dress for Siemens. They just released a new line called Avantgarde, washing machines, and it glows. The machine glows blue. Um, yes. So we made a dress out of it, and yes, you can wash it. That was also the idea. So it's like hashtag, we can wash it all. Yes. So things like that. And also, one of those things actually, what I just realized last week is we've been to Mumbai in March 2016, and we ran the very first Fashion Tech runway. And it was so nice because we curated an entire show. So it wasn't not only our designs. So we invited a lot of fashion tech friends to have the entire show with us. So it was like we had like 12 different designers coming all together for LACME Fashion Week and glowing on stage. So, and the nice thing also was that while we were there, it's like we actually reached out to a lot of designers. So every time when I'm traveling, I'm just like, can you please talk to me? Because the thing is like tech and designers actually like should be in a room and talk to each other so we can do more of these cool things. So, and Mumbai was really great because I got in touch with like 3 different designers. And with 2 of them, we're actually doing projects. We already released one of them with Kanika Goya. And so AJ is one of the designers I've met last year, and we're actually going to work on something. So, it's like the business and the fun all together. See, the interesting thing is with fashion also is because, I have no idea about fashion. That's like the good thing is like I broke all of the rules because I didn't know them. It's a form of innovation. The interesting thing also is like, once I got like into fashion, I got like a huge frustration. Everything has been done. Everything is like, it's so difficult to break into the market. Like for designers, you have to have like a lot of money to break into the market. And there's like no innovation. In the last 15 years, fashion hasn't done anything new. But actually, fashion always was very innovative. It got always influenced by technology. Remember like the sewing machine? That was a technical revolution. Now we call it laser cutter. The zipper, awesome. The zipper, that was wearable technology. There was a huge scandal when the zipper got introduced into fashion because it's a wearable function. Sounds familiar, right? Same thing, and now it's just a total normal part of our apparel industry. This is, just to finish this is one of my favorite quotes, because of course, nobody can say like what is going to happen for real, but the most important thing is like we have to start.